Suggested English Curriculum and BLR. Outline, rationale, purpose, structure, pedagogical materials. The Suggested English Curriculum is a pedagogical tool which was created in order to help teachers, institutions achieve the goals that are proposed in the curriculum. In addition, it offers different tools that help teachers plan their classes, formulate goals, learning outcomes, and projects, to create activities, assessments, criteria, and other meaningful materials. Among the curricular themes that were included are health and life, peace, environment, coexistence, and 21st century skills. The purpose of this tool is to help teachers incorporate the suggested curriculum to the existing one. It also allows for the specification of guidelines and precise actions that lead to the transformation and strengthening of practices in and out of the classroom, and therefore to the development of communicative competences in the English language. Basic learning rights. It is where the goals and expectations are expressed. We will explain in detail later on. Methodology and assessment. The purpose of the elements of this curriculum structure is to offer teachers some practical pedagogical ideas on how to implement the suggested curriculum through recommended methodology and assessment practices, which can be helpful in everyday classroom settings. In the methodology, we can find three proposals: task-based, activity-based instruction, project-based. It uses a series of unconnected steps in order to create a final product. Clear, content language integrated learning. Assessment. It helps review the learning process. It must be flexible and versatile. Guide 22 is where pedagogical, methodological, and curricular bases are explained. This document will be the teacher's guide for the curriculum implementation. The curriculum and the basic learning rights work hand by hand. Suggested practical materials. Finally, in the appendix section of this document, teachers can find a series of materials that can help implement this suggested curriculum, such as lesson planning, samples for each grade level, examples of assessment, instrument, quizzes, and rubrics, suggested materials, and didactic resources, which can contribute to curriculum implementation. Why is it important to know the SECT and the BLR? It is important to know because the basic learning rights and the suggested English curriculum are useful tools for the educational community. For us learning teachers, it will be a working instrument that will strengthen and enrich the practice in the classroom. This tool will be useful so that teachers can plan more interesting classes and develop learning with all the students, in order to continue closing gaps and further improve the quality of education. For schools in Colombia, it will be a tool that would allow them to design their own study plans. Furthermore, for the students, it will be a resource that would allow them to know what they must learn in each school grade. And finally, they are important because they offer us conceptual, pedagogical, and didactic clarities that will help us put in motion good practices in the classroom. It is flexible and it needs to be nurtured by each and one of us in a way that adapts to the multi-ethnic and multicultural reality of our country.
The basic learning rights. These are a set of basic learning rights which involve student skills, such as listening, writing, monologue, and conversational. These were created in order to reach a proficiency level in English through communication and interaction. The basic learning rights are mainly addressed to the National Ministry of Education, the educational institutions, teachers and coordinators, and also for students and families. So the students can be prepared for national exams, and the strategies are going to be designed in order to reach a proficiency level in the L2. All the students are going to develop their skills, and depending on the educational context, this will be pertinent, and finally an integral learning will be acquired. As pedagogical materials, we found that there are different tools from transition grade to 5th grade, developing every skill that the student has and every single integral learning. In order for us to align our teaching in the practicum with the suggested English curriculum and basic learning rights, first of all, we must have in consideration the context in which these pedagogical tools are going to be applied. Getting to know the school policies, directives, teachers, and students It is fundamental in the application of the proposed material. In the new curriculum, it proposes using prior knowledge in order to construct new one. It also focuses in a more holistic way of teaching. Therefore, we will have to use a constructive and more humanistic way of teaching, where education is student-centered and not teacher-centered. The practical guide is divided into 4 main stages, in which the first of these 4 is the analysis, and is the most important one because the implementation of a new team is required, with coordinators, which will be the guide and implement the lesson plans, and also collaborators that will design a lesson plan about how suggested English curriculum is implemented. This requires to identify strengths and to take on the curricular implementation. What is this? It intends to achieve necessary for it because it requires the adaptation to the context. The second stage is the planning, which requires a creation of an action plan and sets what the monitor is going to do, which will plan activities to develop time management and assign responsibilities. First of all, it requires the activities to be planned through different months and also to ensure the commitment of academic community. The third stage is the curriculum application, in which the strategy is needed to respond to the specific needs of the students. The final stage is the evaluation, which requires to collect reliable information of the whole process. Depending on the results, it will require to adjust to the curricular documents and also a plan of improvement, which will arise from the identified weaknesses.
The pedagogical principles and guidelines suggested English curriculum. The government has implemented the program Colombia Bilingüe, which the context is based on basic learning rights and the suggested English curriculum for transition to 5th grade level. The first one is about the actions and policies around teaching and learning of English, implemented as pedagogical strategies like Boni Bonita, Echo English Please, and My ABC English Kit. The second one shows the national educational reality, the features with the target population, and some other external factors that influence the teaching and learning processes, like the legal framework, the characteristic of children between the age of 5 and 12, and the teacher challenges. The third one, the objective is to create high quality, flexible, and inclusive curriculums able to help the teachers to achieve the different levels of schooling to prepare students with pre-A1 level, looking for raise awareness in the education community. The fourth are the concepts. The vision of education in Plan Nacional is based on the concepts that define primary and postmodern thinking, and the vision of learning in the proposal is to develop a balanced manner the various dimensions. The fifth one has the task-based learning. Is a process based on the development of meaningful tasks that allow students to use the language in context and specific communicative purposes. The project-based learning, as well as an approach that seeks to stimulate students' learning. The sixth is the competence-based assessment, allows the person to carry out actions at a given context. The assessment for learning, to monitor children's learning process and give effective feedback, and the assessment of learning, to collect data to verify children's achievements. The seventh is the proposal that students should be able to build, develop, and discover, and the teacher must follow the ability to accept that English learning process is an opportunity to learn something new. The local education authorities should be responsible for providing opportunities of education. The eighth is the material must stimulate with meaningful activities. There are some general topics proposed: health and life, peace and coexistence, environment and society, and global village. These topics may refer to some other categories. And the ninth, and the last one, is the analysis and adaptation of the suggested curriculum. The analysis and interaction points between the suggested curriculum at the current school and English curriculum, the establishment and implementation schedule, and the permanent data collection to evaluate the impact and result for implementation.